Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chatmosa Podcasters in Training. I'm David, head of product at Chatmosa, and every week we get together and we just get the Chatmosa team and our uh, Chatmosa podcasters together, and all we do is we spend 2 hours before this session doing mic checks. But
Right.
we're learning a lot. We're actually testing our own process here at Chatmosa. So we are learning a lot about microphones. So let's do a round robin right now. Camille, you're first up and popcorn it off.
All right. Happy Friday. Another week here at Chatmosa. Camille, head of, I guess, this product.
Head, head
And
of
right now
mic
I feel like
checks.
I feel like, I'm kind of breaking the site. I'm breaking the code. So I feel like the peon software engineer here. And I'm gonna popcorn it to Sandra.
Hello, hello. And I'm usually the one under the bus. Sandra here, lead tech. Hopefully, everything remains stable and this podcast won't cut out in 10 minutes. Popping over to Auntie Derek.
Yay! So nice to know we won't be cutting out. But hello, everyone. I am Derek Johnson, your head of growth. And like always, very, very happy and excited to be here. And I'm going to popcorn over to Nicole.
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Nicole. I am the founder of Capecchi Publishing, and I am happy to be here. I hope my mic sounds good. I can do a little beatbox if you want. No, we won't go there. Happy Friday, and I'm going to pop it over to Nish.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicole, and thanks everybody previous to me. I am Nish. I have my own podcast here on Chatmosa, nishpodcast.com. Plus, as I'm a writer, I do have several articles and stories that I am now transferring over to this Chatmosa platform because it is going to be a like a very full platform. It's not just podcasts, it's not just audio and just video. It is also for writers and for articles and other information. So I'm very happy about that. And thank you for listening. I'm going to throw it back to David or Camille.
We're popping it back. Camille, you're joining us actually from the Chatmosa offices, or as we affectionately call the Chatmosa lab, right?
I am. And, you mentioned about spending, 2 hours, not really 2 hours, but, a good chunk of time, like testing our mics. And that really is a key to this podcasting and checking the mic. David has this technique where he has us tapping on our mic because many of us are using, we have multiple mics in our device. So if you're using a laptop, your laptop has its own mic. And then if you're using an external mic, that's another mic. And if you're using a Bluetooth, that your Bluetooth sometimes has another mic or a headset. So, that's really important. What do you think, David? I think I'm glad that you're kind of teaching us that.
Yeah, I think, we're learning a lot, which is kind of interesting, especially with microphones, because I have a Shure microphone, MV4, and you have a Fifine mic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole, what kind of mic do you have? Do you know? I'll bring them up actually.
I changed my mic to this Echo. Oh. I forgot the name of it. Hold on. I have to look.
Yeah.
It is excuse me. It is a Elgato Wave 3 mic.
Whoa. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we have different setups, right? So I'm connected on my desktop. I'm using a Bluetooth Bose headphones.
Okay.
Like it's like one of my older like Quiet Comfort, 35 headphone. Although it's got its own mic, I also use an external mic USB Fi-Fi that connects to my computer. That's my setup. What about you, David?
Yeah, like I said, I'm using a Shure MV7 mic. So, and just what we're finding out is that when you mount these mics, and I'll bring it up on the Jumbotron here, is that when you do mount these either to your desk or you have a tabletop, you do hear kind of some banging that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, kind of trial and error as far as just kind of finding out what works and what doesn't work, especially with microphones. Who knew?
Yeah, and I think, wearing headphones, wearing earphones, um, how important that is. Like I'm in a room right now that's kind of it's like all concrete, like it's 1,000 square foot, all concrete. So if
Yeah.
I didn't put on my headphones, I think my audio would bounce all over the place. Right. Why don't we ask Sandra? Sandra, what's your setup right now?
Yeah, for being lead tech, I'm the most low tech, hardwired Samsung.
Oh,
Ooh, hardwired like those freebies from the phone you got like from 10 years ago.
100%.
Nice. What about you, Auntie? What's your setup?
So using the same what I use for my podcast, the Fifine mic, and I have a sound card that I was able to an inexpensive sound card that I just use for the sound effects, plugged in, and like you said, the use of headphones is important because the sound card allows me to hear what the audience is hearing, including myself. So
Yeah.
that includes echoes or any background noises that may be heard, but it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. David, I want to bring up a great example of these young boys, the stat sheet boys. So they're using like um, there's two mics. And I said, what happened to your four mics? So, a lot of these devices, especially they're using a Mac laptop, they only allow a maximum of two mics. And so when you're doing these group chats in person, you may want to consider getting a sound card, an external box, and all your mics go into that box, and then that box goes into your laptop. Uh, but there are devices, some, wireless Bluetooth specifically that that specifically handles like four or six. Did you hear that?
I
See,
did indeed.
yeah, that's a motorcycle.
Yep,
And
heard it.
so, it's summer here, and I'm seeing also a lot of surfers with their surfboards walking to the beach.
wow.
Um, you know, so microphones are important. Just don't get any microphones. Test it out. If you're doing in person, you want to consider when you see those podcasters, why they wear headphones is because they don't want the other person's microphone to capture what they're saying and vice versa. And that's when things bounce.
Yeah, it's important. Although you got to give a shout out. Speaking of the audio, to the stat sheet boys here on Chatmosa, because they're not just using a single mic that we're all using. They just pass that thing around and fight for the mic. So that's another podcasting technique, right? Have one mic, and whoever arm wrestles that mic gets to talk. What do you think?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
give us background on the stat sheet boys here that I've on the Jumbotron.
the little background I know is they really, they wanted to do a podcast. I think their parents listen to a lot of sports podcasts and they feel like they can do the same. They felt like they didn't hear kids their age that did a podcast or a commentary about the sports that they liked. These boys are actually at the top of their class, from what I'm told. And they play sports, they watch pro sports, in person, sports, and they just kind of so fast on onboarding them. I'd say they'd probably I think one of the faster groups that we've onboarded. I said just set up an account, sign up to Chatmosa, and just start podcasting. And they did with their uncombed hair, wrinkled t-shirts and shorts. They probably just finished playing a basketball game. And they're all over. So kids, now this summer, they're not together. And so they may be doing an episode, remotely. And so, these are 30-year-old boys. And then, so I had to basically speak to the parents, and the parents had to set things up for them, per Chatmosa's terms of use and privacy policy. The parents do need to get involved, and we had to change, our terms. Uh, but, it's kind of their parents oversee things, they enjoy it. And boy, they went back to school, and, you know, I think the girls just wanted to podcast as well.
Ooh.
Right. Nicole.
Hey, I love industrious young minds. I actually have an extra mic. I might have two, so they need to reach out to me via my socials or info@capecchi.com, and I'll happily send them over a new mic. I
There
like
you
kids.
go.
I like kids doing stuff, so I want to
There you
support
go.
that. So I have a free mic for them, maybe two if they need it.
Yes,
Wow,
they don't
Mike
forget to
donations.
mic donation. So something like that, that's something that I encourage them to look into getting a sound card that gets all the mic. Again, just because you have four microphones, it doesn't mean that your computer can handle all four, separate different inputs. So you want to get, it's about like a $50 box that you plug in four mics, and your computer sees it as one mic. Those are things to consider when you do uh, group group podcasts. They purchase a four mic wireless, but those four mic wireless, didn't have the capability to do a sound card. So I said, no, you got to purchase this other piece. You have to really look into something that you could plug into one computer. We dealt with that last year when we did the LA Tech Week. Um, I think what, David, 9 a.m. in the morning, we decided
Yeah.
to just like order on Amazon, and it arrived like 30 minutes later, and it allowed us to have multiple inputs. It's that input that's kind of tricky, especially for the Mac.
Was it the Fee Find? Do you remember?
I did. It
The
was
mixer? Was it the
and I don't know if
Schwa?
it's Fee Fine or Fi Fine or
Yeah, I call it Fee Fi Fo Fum, but yeah, it's this mixer here, and they have different inputs, USB, and I think they had maybe other audio inputs for this, but it's kind of the ticket.
Yeah, a good mic is definitely something, everyone gets concerned about camera and all that stuff, but to get your podcast started, a good mic should get you started. I was in a discussion with someone this week that at the end of the day, I still listen. Still a big podcast listener, and I love it because for the fact that I can multitask. I will look at the video sometimes just to kind of see if I'm curious about what, who or what they're talking about. But I really love the audio piece. I say, even our podcasters in this room, Auntie Derek, Kay Pecky, and Nish, they have really good podcasts. They have really good audio podcasts that I could just play while I'm working.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I agree. Just kind of like listening to our content. I do know that Nicole, you we're busy all this week in kind of going through and creating your content, both articles, and so I'm going to just kind of pull up the link that you had to one of your articles that you did this week. If you want to just walk us through what it was that you worked on, as far as I think you worked on, was it? Did you do a part 3, episode 3?
Oh, I did 3 of Black Music Month. It's
Mm-hmm.
funny enough, I was thinking when you guys were talking about mics, I have still an ear infection. So as I was doing my podcast, I can tell I had to take my I had in my wireless iPods, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to take them out so I can make sure that I can actually hearing myself because I can't really hear when I actually recorded the podcast. You could kind of tell I was a little sick. And so I had troubles with them in, and I had troubles definitely had trouble with them out, but it was hard to kind of gauge my pitch during that recording. So that was just a personal thing I went through. I thought it was really interesting. But yes, I did recorded the third version of Black Music Month where I we examined spoken word poetry and poetry of Kendrick Lamar. Well, not really poetry Kendrick Lamar, the music of Kendrick Lamar and the poetry of Langston Hughes and Amari Bakara, and back to the music of Gil Scott Heron. So that was a fun one to do as far as analysis was concerned, and understanding that um, rap music itself lives in the tradition of poetry, and people tend to forget that. So yeah, it was a good one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed your new format, Nicole. It really captivated me. There was one episode that I was listening to it with Sandra. We were working, and of course, Sandra just kind of started spewing what the song was.
Most people, oh, the Melly Mel, the Jesus, I can't even talk. The Melly Mel episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the
And she's
message.
like, she's like, "Oh, I love it. I love it." I said, "That's really great. Good." For me personally, I love your content because I'm learning new things. Um, I mean, I love everyone's content. I listen to Auntie's content when I can catch it post because I learned what's happening in entertainment now.
Yes, Auntie is fun. Auntie's definitely a lot of fun. These were when I started it. I wanted to do something that was along with books. Music is very important to me. I grew up on music. Music was always in our house, and I say to this day I can't remember things now because I have song lyrics. I have 40, 50 years of song lyrics in my head, from not just my own era, but eras before me, and and in the popular music, a few of the popular music after me. So talking about music and relating it to literature was is actually fun. People don't equate the two. And
Yeah,
so finding that lane and saying, this is what it is. This is recall and recite. This is a spine of spoken word poetry. It's also the spine of rap music. Um, my
Y-
next big one, it will be, well, no, I have one before that, but my final um episode in this series will be on Prince because he's my all-time favorite. He's my favorite. And so I'm
fave.
trying
Okay.
to put that into literature terms, but I'm still the next one is still on music and revolutionary music in black culture. So yeah, it's kind of my contribution to in my love letter to music and words.
Yeah, you're like, I'd say, David, if you bring us back to the message, what was cool about it for me was the second time I listened to your podcast on the message. So that's the second one, David.
That one right there.
Yeah, I was listening to you, and then you embedded later on the YouTube video of the song.
Mhm.
And so, what was neat about it is that I made the YouTube video audio like really low, and I was listening to you talk with the music behind it, which was kind of neat.
Well, and thank you for the suggestion. I was trying to get around copyright issues, because you really can't play the music without buying a license fee. So it was a great way, a great suggestion that came from the Chatmosa creators to add the video link. And so when you watch the next episode with the Kendrick Lamar, you'll see that I actually also added the music video into that one as well. It makes it easier for people to kind of go to it after I like my call to action. I'm trying to do a call to action at the end of each podcast, of these podcasts at least. And so it's like, oh, well, let me just attach the music right there. And then you can go listen to it. And what's so lovely about episode 3 and the We Gonna Be All Right video is it is spoken word right before the actual song starts. So there is poetry already integrated into the video, which is you can actually feel it because it's actually right there
Nice. Nice.
and
So, David,
experience it.
you were, if you go back, so a few changes happening on Chatmosa for all of you guys, and um, whatever breaks is my fault. I'm actually upgrading the profile pages of all our users. And so if you go back, we could use Auntie Derek, perfect. Because Nicole, that about, you got to put it about. So I want to push again your links. Again, it's from a discussion I had with actually Nicole. So this is the beauty of talking to all of you and your journey and what are your needs. And so I'm pushing your links up there. And those links will now also show up on all your content. So your podcast gets a summary page, so you'll have those links. When you write an article, you'll have those links as well. Um, so that's one of them, is kind of like pushing your links. Why? So that um, let's see where David is. Okay, and then I'm kind of playing around with the layout, so not committed to it yet. Um, Here's a layout where you have the about. I kind of made it smaller. You have your links to the left. If you have an upcoming session that you want, you're making it public, that shows up at the very top. And if you have other upcoming, which we've kind of hidden in the past, if you had more upcoming, it will show up on the left. And I know Auntie will do like 5 shows. Auntie shows are every day. So then those 5 shows will show up on the left. But on the right, we call this in tech, we call this lazy loading. That you could just kind of scroll down. I may cut this short. And if you go to the top, David, just slide up to the very top. So I added a link on the upper right called content. And that content page, go ahead and click on that, would basically list all the content you've created on Chatmosa, whether it's a podcast or an article, and that's searchable content. And so that's the link I would say that you can share on your Instagram. So when you say, link on my bio, share that link, because then your latest content shows up on top. And then I look at this and I'm thinking, boy, I need to update the layout of these cards because it has to match the articles. So right now you're seeing like one article of Auntie. You see that, how it's a little bit of a different layout. I don't know if I should do it or not, but it really is a page just for all your content. And like what Nish mentioned earlier, we want you to have a home of all your content that you want to publish. Now, these are only for podcaster subscribers. Those on the freemium, they could write articles, and so they'll have their articles. If they were, if they co-hosted a show, they may have that content as well. But the difference is, and this has always been there, is that the Chatmosa bar for the podcaster subscribers is in the bottom. We want you to kind of have a web page that is looks like yours, right? So that's another feature. And then the other feature that I've kind of like, based on my boss here, the CTO, is mad at me, is I release code.
Uh-oh.
I release code that broke, and every time I'm kind of sitting down. So here's how it is when you're a startup, right? So you're you're creating new features, you're fixing bugs, but then you're also doing meetings, you're doing business meetings, you're doing sales meetings, and then you're at the office and people come in and there's a violin. But it's kind of the part that's the life of a startup. You have to do everything. So the part that I released and has bugs because I can only kind of test it when it's real is for our podcaster subscribers. We're giving them their own subdomain. Okay, so that's one. The second piece is so you could go to like I don't know, go to my Camille297.chatmosa.com because I'm signed in with my LinkedIn, so um, I have a clean username. Uh, those that sign in using their Google has kind of like this weird number, uh, you know, username.
Is that it?
But
Camille
yeah,
297?
yeah.
Okay.
So now I get my own subdomain, and you'll have that, and we call that the vanity URL that you'll be able to control and customize. Again, this is only available to podcaster subscribers, so you get your subdomain, your vanity subdomain, and it's really also a response to the Substack users that are coming here. Um, why are people again leaving Substack?
Wait, is that a real question?
Is that a question for? Are
Or
you
is that,
baiting?
was that a,
I thought you were waiting for me to answer.
You're baiting Nicole.
Because we'll answer, girl, if you want. We'll tell you the thing.
Nazis. They're leaving because of Nazis. I'm just kidding.
she said
No.
Nazis.
All right. Yeah, I mean, so for those writers and Auntie, is out there. We really want to, like we said in the last episode, is that the writers bring your content to Chatmosa, and um, the key is we want you to have fun. We want it to be simple for you. So yeah, the vanity URL is something that I quietly launched last night, and Sandra's on my case on bugs. So yeah, you guys will all have bugs, right? But hopefully nothing too obvious, because But I have a fix, and that fix I just have to get Sandra her okay, so that we could blame her on anything bugs that we
How does
release.
that bus feel, by the
Yeah,
way?
where's the bus going on?
Yeah, where's the bus? Which bus stop is it
What do you
at?
think, David? Right? So,
Yeah.
but it's a complex thing. It's a complex thing. Nicole and
Yeah.
I talked about it. It goes, can I have da? We could do that. We could do that. But hold on, I gotta. There's like so much that we have to.
She was really assuring me. I didn't know it was going to be all this.
Right, because
Oh,
it
she's-
affects like your RSS feed, your URL for that.
Yeah.
It affects when people subscribe to you. It affects when people want to tip you. It affects some security that, yeah, you are coming from chatmosa.com. And we also, for anyone that's in development that, want to do this, for us, we kind of have to have there are certain subdomains that you can't register, that you can't change to. So those are special lists, for us. So
It's also kind of compounded, complex, getting more complicated because Auntie Derek, you're in the middle of a branding change, right? So
Yeah, and I've used Derek
painful.
Normal for so long, and I just thought for branding reasons, it's best for me to be able to be Auntie Derek across all social media, just for people to find me easily. And Things happen. I don't know the first thing about building a website, so I'm just happy to be on the ride.
Yeah, Auntie Derek has his own domain. So it's really pushing auntiederek.com that goes to, will now go to his Chatmosa subdomain.
Yeah, but you've been established, Auntie Derek, for a long time with your social media accounts at Derek is Normal, and now you're having to convert everything over to Auntie Derek, right?
That's
Branding.
correct.
So what are you learning? Because it's not easy.
It's not, but it's actually very rewarding. Just like the searchable aspect of it. Like you can actually Google Auntie Derek now, and it's all it looks legitimate. Not saying I'm not a legitimate person, but
Yeah.
like for someone who doesn't know who I am, that is amazing.
Yeah, it is
That's part of the
amazing.
building of the brand. And, you know, um, Auntie Derek came from, Twitter and expanding to TikTok and Instagram. And Nicole, have you gotten him into threads yet?
No, I haven't lured him over yet. We haven't. Every time when we talk, I'm usually like in crisis, like I don't know how to do this, or
Yeah.
I don't know. So he saves me. But it is hard. I personally have flipped names. Like my personal Instagram, my personal Threads account. I got off Twitter when the felon bought it. Um, I changed all those over to match my website. So I had to kind of hold names and wait 10 days and flip names and then try to grab that name at the 10th day. So it's mine still. It is very cumbersome. It is very, and I just recently did that. But everything under Capecchi, when I started building Capecchi, that's basically the first thing I did was secure the name, and I made it original enough that it didn't exist. So I had no problem with. I knew I wouldn't have any problem with branding or someone trying to take it. Now, when I look at stats on my website and there are things from Europe, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a bot or somebody searching a name. You know, I question that. But as far as branding is concerned, Capecchi stands by itself at this point. So, but that worked in my favor.
Yeah. Sandra could probably educate us a little bit about trademark and unique username.
Oh, for trademarks? Has anyone here trademarked their site or any of their IP?
I
Or
have.
have
I'm about to.
you're about
Not
to?
I
yet.
haven't done the paperwork yet.
Yeah. Well, so the more novel you make the name, the better. So
Mm.
you already experienced that because you do have if there's a collision in naming, especially across a category. So if there was another Chatmosa entertainment in entertainment, like before we had a chance to trademark it, we would have been denied our trademark. So it depends on the name, and it also depends on how novel the name is, and it depends on the category, the classification of the business or the name that you're trying to trademark. And then you can trademark the design, or you can trademark the lettering. And we just went
Yeah.
ahead and trademarked the
Yeah.
lettering. Yeah.
Don't go too crazy about it because all these trademark, you just at the end of the day, you just have to have lawyer money to even protect it.
Hmm.
Um, but speaking of trademark and names, when you do start an account on Chatmosa, so you'll soon be able to, you may sign in with your TikTok account, but you'll be able to change that stuff on Chatmosa. David, we're kind of making it easier. We're about to kind of have a flood of users coming in and um, talking about like removing, the provider on that at least for our podcaster subscribers. It will now be just Auntie Derek and not Auntie Derek from X or Kate Pecky from Google. This is for our paid podcasters, and it'll be an easier way to just get in. And the other piece is when you come to Chatmosa or when you start podcasting, no matter what platform you choose, check to make sure that podcast name doesn't exist.
Mm.
And that's number one. The easiest thing is let's use AI. Does blah 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 exist yet? You know, and that's part of branding. Go ahead, Sandra.
Is it this? Do they restrict like do the like Spotify or iHeart? They don't do. Do they restrict your name? Does it have to be unique for your podcast, or it's okay to
No,
have? Okay, all right.
no, they don't restrict these, unlike a domain. So a domain you have to register, and you're the only one who can own that name. But for podcasts, and the problem is, if you're building a new podcast and you want to call your podcast, cool stories of the week. I don't even know if that exists, but there's probably gonna be like a bunch of cool stories of the week podcasts, and you're making your users, your listeners, your friends and family kind of go fish. And, people don't want to fish. People are lazy, and you want to serve to them in a silver platter and just make it easy. Um, so that's kind of in the naming piece part of things. Um, Consider that. Just do some homework on that piece.
Yeah, it should be unique. But Camille, some people do like to fish. Just FYI, just want to let you know
Right?
that. Um,
Well, good
yes,
luck. You have to get a bunch of fishermen to like find your podcast.
y- yes, that's the key. Um, Not a fisherman, I don't think, but Nish, we missed you the last few episodes here at Chatmosa's Podcasters in Training. How you doing? And we're glad you're here.
Well, thank you very much. I am doing pretty well. When we were doing the pre show, I revealed that I had cataract surgery in my left eye. So over the past week, I've been trying to recover from that because it was a difficult surgery that didn't go, like other surgeries have gone for other people, which was pretty simple. It wasn't a simple thing. Um, and I can't remember how many times have I missed this podcast, but oh, I remember. I think I was going to a Hollywood Fringe play one Friday. And in fact, the Hollywood Fringe is still going on until the end of this month. It's a very big theatrical arts festival. Of over 100 independent plays are being performed um, mostly in the theater district of Hollywood, which is mostly on Santa Monica Boulevard and other side streets there where there's small theaters. And because I'm involved in a couple of theater groups, but that's basically been my life since uh,
Yeah.
over the past few weeks.
Wow, we're sorry to hear about, what you had to go through. And, we're glad you're here and you made it through. But you mentioned that you had been listening to podcasts and I wanted to get your thoughts on, what you've learned. You were listening to Auntie Derek, you were listening to Kepeki's content. And of course, I think you were doing some of your content. What did you learn just kind of listening as a user?
well, um, well, first of all, I want to uh, uh, commend Nicole of Capecchi for her podcast. Very educational. I love music very much, and she presents her podcast very professionally and gives great information and historical background. And of course, for fun, I've listened to a few Auntie Derek's podcasts, which is always very entertaining. And that's what his podcast is about. I did listen to, and he does that so well. And I like the whole group that he has um, with him on his podcast as a discussion group. Um, I also caught the new podcast by these young podcasters that are talking about, the NFL uh, team trades and such, because I'm a big football fan and I play fantasy football. So, what those young guys are talking about, they're pretty sharp. They're pretty sharp. So, I do recommend that for any um, sports fan, especially for football. I don't follow basketball that much unless you're talking about the Lakers or the Clippers. But,
So
I'm
is
I'm
what they're
sure.
saying legit?
Oh, hell yeah. Whoops, sorry.
Okay. No,
You might have
it's
to cut
okay.
that out. Anyway,
No.
yes, when I can't remember the young man's name, but when he said when the Rams got Miles Garrett for for the defense, that was a very key trade that they made, because now the Rams defense can pretty much obliterate all of the other teams. I mean, we are on the way to Super Bowl with that trade, and he even recognized that. Um, I mean, the Super Bowl is going to be played in Los Angeles in 2027.
Oh,
And I
really?
am hoping the
Or
Rams are
2028?
there
Okay.
again and that they win again in LA. I mean, what a
Wow.
fantastic thing that will be. And also, Matthew Stafford,
2027.
it'll be his second Super Bowl after his very disappointing career with the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions have really come up since he left. It wasn't because he left, but it
Okay,
was because
I
Nish,
think
we're
Nish,
we're
we're
gonna have
gonna
to
have to
save
get
all
you on.
this.
We're gonna have to
Yeah,
get
we're gonna have to save
Nish
all
on the
this for the
Stat
stat
Street
sheet boys.
Boys, don't you think,
oh
Camille?
yeah, I could be
A
the
guest.
stat sheet girls. I don't
Girls.
know.
Wow,
but
you
Became
go,
a
Nish.
trademark.
but I'm like the age of those kids' grandmother, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But they it would be great. But I do listen to and or watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube during the football season, because there are a lot of fantasy football experts that are telling you every week on your team who you should be putting in, who you should bench, what's going on. They talk about the stats, so I'm following that. Plus, since my eye has been out of commission, it's difficult to do things, because when I'm trying to read stuff and view things, um, after a while I get a headache because I can't see well on my left side. So I've been listening to some podcasts, because I also am interested in astrology. I'm interested in a lot of metaphysical subjects and stuff. So on a lot of those, I don't need to see what's on the screen. I could just listen to it.
Yeah, Camille,
Yeah,
that you listen to it. There's something about audio. Not to
Mhm.
yeah,
say we need our sight, right?
I mean, I think when it comes to sports, even news, I there was a time just maybe like two weeks ago, I was looking for a podcast regarding some topic, and I don't remember what topic, and none of my favorite podcasts had released a story about it. And there's a reason why to that. It's because it takes long to post pro production side of it after a recording is done to release a podcast, and that's why we try to make it simple really, if you have your reaction, your opinion, whether you record it on Chatmosa or you record it using your cell phone or your tablet or your computer, um, if you're going to upload it to YouTube, you might as well upload it to Chatmosa because we have a feature that will post it to your YouTube. But it will also go to all these podcasting platform. And that's something that, Auntie and I are, working hard to let people know this, that if you're creating a video on Instagram or TikTok, or you're going live, you get a copy of that MP4, that video file. You might as well upload it to Chatmosa because something for us is that your videos, or maybe it's just an audio. Again, you could just record an audio, just your opinion. We auto create and auto generate an article for it, and we find that in a podcast, that's quite important. What do you think, Auntie?
I actually wanted to piggyback off of that because you're absolutely right. And I get asked constantly, how do you do shows every day? Isn't that a lot of work? And I'm like, I mean, it's work, but it's not a lot of it because Chatmosa literally does the work for me. And just as you said, like, depending on, like, because people do have their favorite podcasters, but sometimes their favorite podcaster hasn't released their latest episode. Someone like me, however, I talk about the latest celebrity entertainment news. So if there's a topic that someone is interested in seeing, they're going to search it. I'm going to be one of the top that's up there because I've already published my episode as soon because I'm very unfiltered and I like for my show to be unfiltered. So I just pretty much publish and go. I think I can count on one hand how many times I've actually edited or trimmed my episodes. So I just go ahead and push it out there just so that way it can be out there. And those people are looking. People want to know about their favorite topics. They're searching. So yeah, I highly recommend. People ask me like, would you recommend podcasting? Highly recommend it.
But to piggyback off what you're saying, Auntie, it is really nice to see that once I finish recording, I have so much to do because I'm still, getting my business aligned. I'm still working with writers. So once I spend and I'm trying to like do a lot of pre show stuff before I actually do the show. Once I know it's uploaded, I have gone in and clipped and edited and added in. I tried to clip a piece the other day and it was really comical. So I left it alone. I just dropped in my intro there. And I look at the AI recap just to make sure things are spelled correctly or words are sometimes I'll say a word and it says another one. Correct that. I put publish. I make sure all of my information is in and I'm gone. I'm on to the next thing. So the ease and convenience and I know I'm on Spotify. I know I'm on Apple. It's going to YouTube. It just makes it so much easier. And then I go back and then I post it to my socials and post it to Kopeki's website. I have to say, if that wasn't available to me, I probably wouldn't be doing it.
What Auntie and I tell you is, we're not kidding. It's just that easy. We have users that, record things, with a 3 camera recording or professionally edited it using whatever Pro Tools they have. And they just upload the episode. And what they like about it is they just upload it and then an article comes up for it. And then, like Nicole said, it automatically just gets distributed to the various podcasting platform, and it's really as easy as that. So I invite people that post on YouTube to come to Chatmosa, do your recording however you like to record it, but guess what, you could also record it on Chatmosa, do your reaction, and boom, publish it. Don't go too crazy. If you want to go a little bit wild, you could we have a media editor. You could edit it yourself. We have a clip reel maker. We'll improve, create more templates on that part. But it's really to find ways to make it easy for you. I will not find your content while I'm driving. I am not scrolling through Instagram or TikTok. I'm not searching on YouTube. I find YouTube, I love YouTube, but it's the video is too heavy. It's too big for the bandwidth. But I will listen to your podcasts and some of these platforms that I listen to. They will also push it to me. If I run out of things to listen to, so you might as well do it. Um,
Yeah, someone actually told me that I made a 2 hour road trip go by so fast. I'm like, oh, thank you.
There
Oh,
you go.
there you go.
Yeah, that's a testament, isn't it? Just that it's so easy to use. And people do like to listen to podcasts, but we're hearing feedback from other users that they are starting their podcasts, and they research and they use some of the other platforms that are out there, and it's way too hard to use. I mean, some folks were saying, oh, we had to record that, then we lost the file. Where was it on our local computer? Then we had to choose the format, we had to kind of edit it, we had to export it, we had to upload it to a host, we had to then distribute it, and then we had to promote it, and they were just saying it's not happening. So, right, Camille, the thing about Chatmosa, we're making it easy for anyone to podcast.
Yeah, it's really to simplify it. I was in a meeting yesterday, and you know, sh- I had talked to them about their podcast a few months ago, and someone said, let's use Riverside. I said, okay, which I'm not gonna push you to use Chatmosa, but I will keep reminding you what you're missing out. Um, And so they used Riverside. They recorded a few times. They lost their audio. They couldn't figure out what's happening, and they found it just too complicated. And I said, Riverside is good for certain kinds of user, but for us, we just want to make it simple. So what they did was they recorded their podcast, and then they edited themselves, and they looked at our website and goes, we just want to exactly do this, upload your episode. And it's just that easy. And I said, yep, it's that easy because it's going to create articles. And what I really like about this person that I spoke to is she found herself having so much fun podcasting. And to me, that was the most magical piece. I said, I'm so glad that, you're having fun with it, because it should be fun. You should be able, podcast is this new platform where, whether you're by yourself or you work for, an entertainment media company, that you should be able to produce content and be on all platforms. Right now, there's kind of this shift that a lot of big podcasters, they're big audio podcasters. They've been doing this for, like 15 years or so. And they're having a hard time transitioning to video. And a few of them are quitting altogether. That's kind of like they're not enjoying it at first, and a lot of them kind of never enjoyed it a few episodes into it because it was a lot of work. And what I'm showing them is actually at Chatmosa, you could just do what you envision to be simple, because it does take work. I mean, I would say like Auntie, Nicole K. Pecky, Nish, they have good podcasts there. I mean, my podcasts, unfortunately, I don't like prepare for it. Maybe I woke up 30 minutes prior to the recording, but you know what? We have fun, and that's what matters. Everyone has their own goals, and you should have fun podcasting, and then just start to see that be distributed so that you can focus on monetization.
no,
First it's the fun.
you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, Camille. And this is what, because I do consult with people who are curious about starting their own podcast, and they tell me their ideas. And I always make it an important point to tell them, okay, make sure that it doesn't feel like work. Because if it's going to feel like work, you're not going to do it. You already have a job. You're not going to want another job that you're not going to, because it's going to be a slow grow, like for a new podcaster. So especially if
Yeah.
you don't have that much of a following, it will be a slow grow for you. But it's important to have fun with it, or if you don't have fun with it, at least not make it feel like work. In my case, I am already reading entertainment news. Like I wake up looking at TMZ to see what's the latest story. That's just, I've been doing that for a very long time. So probably 3 decades, if you will. But I'm in court. I get to do that and talk with friends about the stories that I'm reading. So it doesn't feel like a job for me. I'm literally having fun with it. And I put out a daily show. So, and one person was telling me about their ideas, and they said, I'm going to do this and do that. And I was honest with them. I said, hey, that's already starting to sound like work. And that's how you get burned out quickly. So they was like, yeah, you're right. It does sound. So make sure it doesn't feel like work. You already have a job. It's
Yeah, and
supposed
I
to be
think
fun.
yeah, and Fox created their podcast distribution division, and that is looking at podcasters. They're not here. They're not, unlike, they're getting into the game of finding ways to help distribute podcasters. Let your content be, and a lot of the big companies are getting into it. So, with the recent change of podcasting to video, what do you think? Like, it probably became popular last 2025, but really more for 2026. Um, it means that it's a new playing field. That's what it means. Meaning, if you're new to podcasting, now is the time to do it. If you've been podcasting, now is the time to transition. And you've got to find a solution that's easier to do. So, do your audio, continue with your audio, don't be on camera, and create visuals for it. Um, and it's really, I'm on a project where it's time to get your side hustle started. And that side hustle has to be podcasting. If you're a small business, you're a new business, you've got to podcast. If you spent money on a website, you've got to have a podcast. If you're hiring a PR company, if you're a PR company, you've got to start podcasting. Come to Chatmosa, contact us, and let's figure out ways where we could help you. So
Let's make you
that's
a
my
brand.
spiel.
It's a
Let's
good
make you. Yeah.
you a brand. Everybody's a brand. Everybody's now a broadcaster. Everybody can have a top TV show now.
But
It's just unbelievable. Direct to consumer.
it's all about the mic.
It is all about the mic. It's true. Oh my
I
God.
mean, I have episodes for my own podcast. We have to redo because, at first my doctors, a lot of doctors are kind of under Bluetooth because they're on the phone a lot and they don't want to change their system. But, if you ever listen to those early episodes, it's kind of like one bad mic you know, can make a listener or a viewer just change the channel. People are just, but, so definitely invest in, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but spend time on a good mic, record yourself. So come to Chatmosa, get a free account and write your articles. When you're ready to podcast, we have a trial, so you could try it out. Record yourself, record with your equipment, and then listen to it. I think that's someone I spoke to. They had a hard time in Riverside. They couldn't preview their work. It was just so like bulky, and everyone's got their own system. But record yourself, do some stuff. You'll find your groove. The first 3 episodes are probably not going to be perfect. So, and you can always overwrite them, recreate them. And I think Auntie Derek, you find your groove. Nish, like Nish will do short podcasts. Someone asked me, how short can I have a podcast? I'm like, you could do a podcast for like a 3 minutes, a 5 minute, do a soliloquy. It's one of the English words I learned, in
Very
class,
good.
right?
Well, that's what I like. I like a lot of, or I watch or listen to, usually shorter podcasts, less than 20 minutes. I love ones that are like 10 minutes or less because I just want information right now, or whatever it is. Or if you have a story, you should be able to tell me your story in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But, I listen to a lot longer podcasts, but what I have to do is I have to speed that mother up. Okay. I put it on 1.5 or
Cheater.
I put the speed up so I can get through it and listen to the whole thing, or I have to listen to longer podcasts in stages. Like I'll start it and then okay, now I have to do something else, so I'll just come back and finish listening to it. So for me, I prefer short podcasts, and that's why I try to keep my podcasts short for other people who like the short podcasts like me.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
unlike
that's
Chatmosa's podcasters in training.
like this podcast. If
I
you
know, 'cause
reach
I'm gonna have to go soon. I'm
if
hungry.
you reach this stage, you get a prize. I have to say that what I like about Kate Pecky's podcast is that it gives me that teaser in front, and I know whether okay, I need to save it when I can listen more, or it's a podcast like I could just keep playing while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. So those different formats work for different things. So have fun creating that format, and you will be part of this wave, this new time in podcasting and content creation that's going to form the unique kind of framework for that. So, I mean, I like Auntie's podcast because if I miss it, then I could see the jumbotron, right? And because I'm Chismosa, the inspiration for Chatmosa. So I love hearing everyone's comments. So I think with that we can end
Is that a
today's
wrap, Camille?
podcast. Yeah, what
Is
do you
that a
think?
wrap?
Because Sandra has to get to the office.
I'm still keying off of the one bad mic. That's what I'm keying off. We'll try to figure out whose mic
that's
is bad.
right. That's a good podcast name. One bad mic.
Yeah, and it's not one bad apple. It's now one bad mic. Okay.
I feel sorry for Mike.
Yeah,
Right,
Mike's in
Mike.
trouble. We got a big bus coming on Mike. All right,
And
everybody.
I want to say one thing
Uh-oh,
is
nobody
when you
move.
come to Chatmosa, we're human beings, and if you have any questions, if you fill out our contact form and you're not a robot, we will contact you. We will do a one-on-one or one-to-many, shows, onboarding with you, because we really care about the human aspect of kind of, of your podcasting journey.
Yeah, you're going to get one of us, whether you're onboarding, you have some questions, you are going to get us personally in this day and age. That's unheard of. And especially on some of the other big platforms where podcasting platforms we're hearing about, nobody hears anything back. So that's the one thing about Chatmosa is we are here. We are humans. What a concept. And we thanks you for joining us for another short episode of Chatmosa's Podcasters in Training.
In this startup journey. Bye.
Joining us. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.